So, are we all ready to enter the Florpus?
I mean, really, only a couple of people entered the Florpus.
Yeah?
Well, no, actually, no. Technically, the title did not lie. Actually, it wasn't for long, but it did happen.
Invader Zim entered the Florpus, the second revival of a Nickelodeon show on Netflix. The
In
first
2 weeks,
being Rocco that we already did.
it's true. We did it. It happened.
Oh,
I can't confirm this.
I thought you were going to add something there.
I mean, in literally 2 weeks. Yes, the last, what is it? The second Nickelodeon show to be revived in 2 fucking weeks, one right after the other. To which I have to say, where's our third one?
What would you want?
I mean, Jungle Movie came out like a year too early for this to make like count at all.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think back on Angry Beavers. Bring back Angry Beavers.
that would be good.
Like, what other like? I don't know if Rugrats would work anymore, and I really don't want to see all grown up. Actually, a reboot, or not a reboot, but like a movie special where now Tommy and the others are adults, and they have taken the places
Oh.
of their parents,
Oh.
and now they have their babies that are having adventures. That's how you do a movie special for the Rugrats and bring it back, quote unquote back.
Quote unquote.
Because who knows? Like somebody could have moved off somewhere. Maybe like their kids are only there for like a for like a visit or something. Who knows?
Let's get the gang back together.
Yeah, like let's have a reunion, guys. Remember when we were back in high school and it was great? You know what? That'd be a great way to do it. Is you make it like a high school reunion or something, and that's how they all come back to meet with each other again.
With Chucky's half sister getting married to Tommy, I thought they had a thing for each other in that All Grown Up series. I don't know.
It's been too long. I don't know if there was ever a thing there.
I don't know.
I don't remember well enough. I know Dill was like this weird freak of a kid. Shatter teeth on the top of his freaking beanie.
But we're not here to talk about Rugrats. We're here to talk about Invader Zim.
I mean, same thing, really.
Babies, aliens. Babies, aliens. Yeah, I can see they're the same thing.
I mean, Gur did eat a baby once.
And a pug.
I mean, he launched that into space.
I didn't expect it to come crashing down at the end.
Oh, that was great. I loved the payoff. It was beautiful.
Wasn't the Earthworm Jim video game something like that?
I can't even tell you. I only played Earthworm Jim like standing in front of a demo of it, basically. I didn't own it. I only ever played it at like what was it? It was like a flea market or somewhere that like happened every so often, and there was a guy there that would have like retro video games at the time. This had to be like 10 years ago or something, like mid 2000s or so. I think would have been the last time I was there. But he always had like Earthworm Jim set up on whatever console. I don't even remember.
I think something like you launch off a cow for apparently no reason, and at the very end of the game, during the ending credits, it crushes the princess.
That's actually kind of beautiful.
Which I believe is named Princess What's Her Face.
I mean, she's not real important now that she's dead. Or at least, a cow patty.
Isn't that cow shit?
Yes, but she was flattened by a cow, therefore she is now a cow patty.
Fair enough, I guess. That anime-esque opening was so good.
I was watching it and I'm just like, the shit is this. Don't get me wrong. I would love to see the entire episode animated like that just to see how it would work. Or like a 5-minute short or something.
Yes.
And it's like, I'm Dib, I'm 12 years old. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is all in his head. Okay, I gotcha. I got it.
Who had some of the best dialogue? Was it Membrane? Grr? Gaz?
Oh, God. We'll get to Gaz. I have a couple of issues with her, I'll be honest.
But
Um,
wait, what was that line? I have it down here. Jim is getting smellier and grosser. He sure is, honey.
I'm gonna be honest. It's real hard to pick who has the best dialogue in this. Oh man, it's all just so good. It feels so right. All the characters are firing on all cylinders, save for one, in my opinion.
First, you're gonna get a million pizzas, and then I'm gonna roll around in the pizzas.
I
All become a giant pizza.
I love the fact that like when Zim tells him to bring me all the shit that might be phase 2, he literally pulls out the waffle making like little hover machine. And I swear that was in a previous episode at some point.
I do not remember the moose.
I don't remember the moose either. It might have been like in the final seasons or something that I'm not remembering it. Like it might not have been like it might have been like a one episode thing.
Maybe?
I don't remember it. I do like how in like that opening thing, Mini Moose was literally just a random floating moose.
Yes.
He's just legitimately a random moose. I'm just like, what the shit is that? Oh, okay.
I've been expecting you! Oh wait, move along, ugly goblin. I'm waiting for Deb. But I am Deb.
You're a
What?
chair. Don't
What?
lie to people.
What? Yeah! Yeah!
Like even Zim's grossed out. And he lives in like a fucking like a garbage dump thanks to Gurr.
Gurr is the best.
I can't be angry, but I still wish there was more Gurr.
I remember one of my close friends in high school had an Invader Zim shirt with Gurr on it, and I loved that shirt.
I will say this much, all right? If we want to talk plot and like social commentary that this has, like we did with Rocco, I like how this ends up becoming capitalism is the way to take over the world. Because it just is. If Zim had even half a care in the world, he'd be rolling in that money for himself, even after the world nearly destroyed itself and he failed. He'd be rich. But he didn't keep the money.
Nope.
Because A, why would he when he's got, you know, the fucking Irken Armada on his doorstep ready to take over, or at least in his eyes do that? And B, what good is human money to him? He's an alien that doesn't understand the concept.
No. And the neighbor next door, Martha, that next door kid's an alien. Oh wait, he's normal.
It pops eyes and hair back on. Oh, he's normal. Never mind.
I think that's why I loved Invader Zim. The fact that everybody is so stupid to the fact that he's an alien.
Well, I mean, like, again, Zim in and of itself as a series, looking back on it, it really kind of brings in the whole idea of, like, the obvious is in front of us, but we're too goddamn distracted by our own, A, capitalism, and B, all the other bullshit that distracts us, TV, video games, etc., that we're too blind to look at it and see it for what it is.
And Gaz just doesn't care.
It even kind of, like, points out the conspiracy theorists actually have it right for a change. They're not wrong. They're doing their research.
Right.
Like, even modern science is just like, no, man, money, though.
And Professor Membrane. Oh my god.
Oh, you mean good old dad?
Not Clembrain.
Oh.
Although...
But I'll make you some pudding, guys!
This is the worst pudding ever.
The worst pudding I've ever had in my life. Oh, God. So, oh, God, how do we want to handle this right now? Because I have some things to say about stuff. But I don't know if you want to dig into that right away or just keep talking about, like, random funny moments at the moment.
I'm trying to work my way through, like, best moments, like, according to where they were in the special, chronologically, because I think...
Not scientifically possible!
Oh my god, that line.
I fucking use that on Tristan.
Because I know we jumped around a lot when we talked about Hirako.
A bit, yeah.
I'm trying to keep this a little bit more consistent.
That's not our strong suit. You know that, right?
Exactly. Exactly. The Piece is Nice song.
It sounded so bad at the beginning, and then when the chorus starts kicking in, it actually starts sounding decent.
Piece is better than chicken fried rice.
Chicken or rice, sir.
Oh, I thought it was chicken fried rice. Oh.
Unless that was like one random line just to like throw you off or something, which it could have been. I want to know how that song made it physically possible for the children to literally leap across a volcano to hold hands.
Well,
like, are you telling me there's not enough children in the world that could just hold hands around?
No,
even just the hole at the top.
They must be a straight line.
Well, here's the other question then. Why is the shark there holding hands at one point, but he's not wearing a wristband? Also, why does it have to be children?
Because...
Oh, that's right. Membrane designed it specifically for children for some stupid-ass reason.
Because children have an inner light.
It was an inner energy, I think.
Oh, inner energy that dies out when they grow up.
Yes. Because it all goes into work and we all want to die afterwards.
The flaming peanut scene.
I mean, outside of it literally falling on Zim, I'm okay with firing flaming peanuts to look like a badass. It looks pretty cool. They're tiny little fireballs.
Grr, where's my flames?
I was more impressed that the chair wasn't a piece of shit to begin with. Everything else he did was. You know, when I first saw that thing, like before he mentioned that it was a peanut button, when you just like kind of saw it at an angle when you were looking at the throne, I'm like, oh, is that like a controller chair or something? Like a controller button? And then we got like the zoom in of oh, it's a peanut button. Okay.
Only Gur would mix up fire and peanuts.
Why are there even peanuts there to begin with?
Gur designed it.
Yeah, but I don't think he ever had an obsession with peanuts. Like the pizza, the waffles, or something super greasy and terrible for you would make sense for him.
Tacos!
I could see tacos.
I need tacos. I need them or else I will explode. That happens sometimes.
I'm kind of a little disappointed that the monkey show wasn't on ever. Or just the camera staring at like a brain-dead monkey.
The monkey show, oh god.
I love this show.
And I'm super glad they got a majority, if not all, the main voice actors back.
You really only needed what? The only ones they didn't... That was the one character they didn't bring back, which is kind of disappointing, was the teacher.
Miss Bitter?
It might have been Miss Bitter. I don't remember her full name. But she was like the one main character they didn't bring back, and I'm a little sad by it.
Like Membrane, yeah, everybody had the same voices.
Everybody else was just kind of generic, too. So, like, you could throw in anyone. Nobody else was super important.
Yeah.
Miss Bitters was, like, the only one that would have been, like, a main character to bring back. Like, at all. Also, we don't know how long Zim was just sitting in a toilet. He just said it's been a long time.
Was it? Because Yako did establish it was 20 years.
Yes.
Zim just says it was a while.
Yeah, right? Like, Zim just says it was a while. For all we... It can't have been that long, because Dib and Gaz are still kids.
Yeah.
Hell, Dib's still 12 years old. I don't know how old he was when Zim was around, like, when the show was actually taking place. But, like, it makes me wonder how long Zim was sitting in a toilet.
The planning room.
The planning room, yes. Actually, there would have been technically more main characters if you want to count Zim's mom and dad robots. But
guess?
Even then, like, they didn't do shit, usually. I think there was, like, one episode where he actually, like, weaponized them to do stuff. That was it.
I'm kind of disappointed Tack didn't come back.
I was half expecting her to be on that, like, prison somehow.
Oh.
That's what I was half expecting, and I was half expecting that to be the reason why the ship was going to agree with Dib, like, to work with him. And not just because fuck Zim, but because Tak was there too. But I don't remember if Tak technically died or not. I can't remember for sure what happened to her. I'd have to look into it.
She may have made an appearance in the comics.
I wouldn't know. I only saw a handful of Invader Zim comics.
I didn't read any of them.
I only read them when I was in like a Barnes and Noble or something.
Although I would love to have read them.
All right, do we want to move on to the points that I have like partial issue with?
Yes, I would like to know what your issue is with this.
Let me ask this then, before I get into the real meat of my one problem. And I feel like it's a big nitpick more than anything else, but how did you feel about the ending? Like how the movie ended?
I felt like it kind of left a possibility open for more Invader Zim if they choose to go that way. Like, I mean, even if it's more comics, I could see them expanding on this and building off of this in some way, but like the final joke payoff, you mean?
No, just how and all of the characters ended up at the end of the story.
I kind of liked it for the most part, with Professor Membrane still being a man of science and completely disavowing anything that's happened.
He's literally still has to keep disavowing because Clembrain is still there.
Yeah.
If he accepts that Clembrain exists, then he literally has to admit this is reality.
Right.
Otherwise, he is now perpetually living in what he considers a hallucination.
Because he did get hit in the head.
Yes, but that means that his body would be in probably a coma. Unless he's like actively awake and hallucinating.
Good point.
Let's rewind then and take a look at like Dib at this point, because as far as he's concerned, his dad still doesn't give a shit about what he's doing because he doesn't believe it. So that's still a thing. Gaz really doesn't go anywhere as far as like beginning to end. And I'll get to her as my real meat once I get through this. Zim. How does Zim proceed from here?
Knowing that the tallest aren't really coming.
Not even that, but like he'll probably never be able to contact them again.
Because they've entered the Florpus and now are gravity falling themselves through various dimensions.
By the way, that was really cool, and I feel like they took that straight out of Gravity Falls.
I was getting Gravity Falls vibes from that sequence too.
Into different parallel realities or it's different medias. Oh, it's beautiful.
Wasn't there one with like sock puppets or?
I think so. And there was definitely one where it was just straight up the animatic without any coloring or real animation to it.
Was there the voice actors dressed up?
I don't think that was one.
Yeah, because they were just going by too fast at one point.
They had claymation in there, I know that. They did have the sock puppet thing. There were quite a few. I just don't remember all of them. I don't think any live, like outright live action ones were there. But anyway, the fact that Zim can no longer contact the tallest leads to one of two possibilities, right? It means that for all intents and purposes, the tallest are gone permanently. The Irken Armada has no leaders, unless the planet has something that we're unaware of, or I'm not remembering. So there's no one to lead the Empire, assuming those guys led anything to begin with, really, besides just going in a straight line. Which means that the Empire itself will either A, eventually have a new leader to take hold of it, or B, fall apart. Because, I mean, we all saw what happened when, good old Palpatine died at the end of the Star Wars original trilogy. The Empire fell apart.
Right.
Also, now without contacting the tallest, where is Zim going to be able to get any kind of anything that tells him he, like, even in his like weird way of misinterpreting everything that they say, who's going to tell him he's doing a good job in his mind? If he can't contact them, how does he get them to come and help and finish the job? Yeah, he'll be fine and happy for a little bit, until he goes to contact them and realizes that, oh, they're gone. What do I do now? Like, maybe he'll self-proclaim himself the tallest now that the other tallest are gone?
Or maybe he will keep going back to the Florpus dimension with them in various states of screaming. I don't know.
It was cutting out before, so I take that to mean that they can't get in contact with him anymore, period. My other thought would be like, this was actually something else I wanted to point out that kind of irked me a little bit. See what I did there? I didn't even notice I did it, but yes. Something that kind of irritated me was like, the ones that aren't tall aren't fighting back at all, even though these guys are clearly idiots.
Yeah.
Like, the guy that's literally there, like, we could just go in a circle. Oh, that's no fun! We need to go in a straight line! You're serious? You're this stupid.
Well, there could be other Tallest commanding other parts of the Armada, going off in different straight lines.
It could be, but that means where does Zim go? Because he has no contact with his direct superiors anymore.
Then again, they could just explain this away at the end of the episode as if this never happened. Me saying that, and with this building off of the series as a quasi-sequel, now I'm speaking it aloud and now it doesn't make much sense.
No. The only other way I could see this potentially spinning off, and it would have to be with like another movie to start it, would be like an alternate reality Zim somehow teleporting himself into like normal Zim's place, and them going from there with that kind of thing being a possibility now.
Would that Zim be more successful?
Well, A, that's one question. B, the next question would be like, now that you're like bringing in the alternate reality things where they're like, oh man, the existence of the Florpus hole means that now, also that was left unanswered. Now there's a Florpus hole there, aka it may as well be a black hole because it makes no freaking difference as far as I can tell what it actually does besides just blend realities. Which for all we know, maybe that's the case in a black hole. We have no fucking idea. The only other thing I can think of is that, like, that is what... The problem is that's going to probably keep growing if it's anything like a black hole, because it's going to keep absorbing planets, absorbing mass, and making itself larger and larger.
Damn it, Zim, you destroyed the galaxy.
Galaxy? He's going universal with this shit.
Exactly.
And with this not being a black hole, who knows what rate it takes to grow? It could be way faster than a black hole. I have no idea. Because, I mean, there's a black hole at the center of our galaxy. Like, a massive one that's absorbing stars and shit. Like, that's why we have a spiral galaxy. It's because there's a black hole in the center of it eating shit.
Are you sure it's not a Florpus?
I mean, unless there's an alien term for that I'm unaware of, you know. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's a black hole.
It might be a plumbus.
No, that's the exit hole. Like how there's black holes and white holes, you have your Florpus hole and your plumbus hole. So for all we know, you know, the tallest are going to wind up in Rick and Morty's universe.
That would be glorious.
And that's how we get Rick and Morty teleporting into Zim's universe, meaning like, you're a fucking idiot, smacking him upside the head.
And Morty just chilling with Gurr.
Morty's just chilling with Gurr, just enjoying the TV show. Rick, you gotta really go see in this TV show, man. It's the greatest.
They have nachos.
They have nachos here, Rick. I love this show. I do too, buddy. Got his arm draped around Gurr. But yeah, no, the Florpus hole is left to, I assume, grow and absorb more and more fucking planets to eventually become a galaxy-wide and then probably universal-wide threat at some point. Because all Membrane did was teleport them back. If it would have closed, the tallest wouldn't have been taken in. And then there's Zim with really nothing to guide him anywhere now, or anything to strive for with the tallest gone. And once he realizes that, he's going to go right back to his like depressed state.
Maybe his plan will be to contact other Irkians?
No, because he's not going to share his glory.
Oh yeah, this is Zim we're talking about.
He's full of himself, and he wants to make sure that he's, you know, that people know he's the greatest invader ever. So, like, he's not going to share that. You saw how upset he was when, like, Tax showed up.
Yes.
Yeah, that didn't go too well. So, I don't know. There's potential, but it's going to take some doing to make it make any kind of sense, even in Zim's insanity of a world.
And it is insane.
Yeah, I mean, humans are stupid, but Zim's incompetent as hell. Here's my main problem with this. And people will probably argue with me on this. That's fine. I don't care. This is my opinion. And I'll be honest, this is also partly Tristan's opinion, too. Because he had mentioned a little bit to me before I had started watching it. He had mentioned to me that, like, Gaz felt different as a character. He didn't tell me how or why, but that was just what he got out of it at the end. And I don't agree with him to the degree that he thinks it's the case, but I do agree to a certain extent. She doesn't feel quite the same.
I guess I didn't watch it enough or recently enough to sense a difference between her.
It might be, but I also watched Invader Zim a shit ton as a kid because I loved it. Gaz feels too emotional. She smiles too much. Now, granted, some of those I can kind of get behind because it's like it's focusing in on the one thing she loves, which is video games, right? Like when the ship gives her basically what is like a VR headset and controllers, she's all freaking hyped about it. And I'm like, yeah, no, this makes sense.
The Game Station 4.
Yes. But she's all over it. And I'm like, yeah, no, totally. This would totally be right because she's obsessed with video games and loves them. It's the only thing she likes. Which kind of leads into the fact that she hates everything else. So why is she smiling when her dad made her food in the beginning of the episode? That seems like a really trivial thing to smile over, especially for her. There's a point where, like, she hugs her dad because they got him back, and it's like, all right, maybe, but I still don't know if I would agree with that quite at that point. And then there's the big one of, like, Gaz just actually opening her eyes. Because that, in the show at least, was only ever used to, like, slam home a point about anything.
Oh.
Like, it was only ever used to, like, make her statements or what she's saying or doing have an impact. Specifically, this also highlights why Gaz just kind of hates everything. We never see Gaz smile in the show, and the only time I can ever remember her smiling is when she was about to, like, beat the high score on one of the video games she had. Which then was destroyed because Div needed to use those batteries for something. Probably to stop Zim or something stupid like that. And she lost any and all, like, save data that she would have had or high score chance she would have had. That was also one of the few times when her eyes got huge, where it's like, oh my god, I'm gonna get it! And then you took away her batteries. She only ever opened her eyes during that moment, during moments when it was to make a point. Like when she was extremely pissed, for example, I think there were some moments where that happened. The point where she finds Dib and Zim at, like, the Membrane announcement meeting or whatever was going on, right? When he was announcing the bracelets.
Mm-hmm.
That moment when she's just, like, floating backwards with her eyes, giving him, like, you better not fuck this up stare. I'm like, all right, yeah, that makes sense. That's perfect for Gaz. But then there's other moments when her eyes are big, and I'm just like, no, that happens way too often. It's only ever when Gaz makes a point about something, or to, like, give a better impact to what she's saying or doing. I know some people would probably say, like, they're trying to give her a better arc, but that doesn't hold up when you look at, like, where she starts and where she ends. She literally just she goes nowhere. She doesn't have any more respect for Dib. She doesn't look at Zim as a threat, even though Zim actually managed to do something quote-unquote right for a change. Her dad's the same in her eyes. She still hates humanity and refuses to touch them because she slaps them in the face when they offer to hold hands with her. Like, she's gone nowhere. And if somebody wants to be like, oh, they want to give her more character, I can point you toward the episodes where, like, we focused on Gazd in the show.
Yeah, I guess.
One of them was that video game episode where she was gonna get the high score.
Yeah, I guess I haven't watched it enough to know all the Gaziness of Gaz.
That's a shame, because Gaz is the best character. Also, I noticed that it's literally Raven's voice from Teen Titans. I hadn't realized that until this movie. I'm like, wait a minute!
Really? It's
Tara Strong.
Really?
That's totally Raven's voice. It's just not as long and drawn out as Raven's is, but otherwise it's the same.
Huh.
Like, Raven tends to, like, draw out her sentences a little bit. Not with Gaz. That's the only difference I can tell.
Wow.
It is the same voice, or damn near it. It might be a little higher pitched, but that'd be it.
I will have to go back and watch clips.
And if it's not, I'll be shocked if it's not the same sound or close to it. But yeah, no, like, Gaz feels different. And the more I thought about it, the more I agreed with Tristan on that. She doesn't feel the same as she did in the show.
It is not Tara Strong.
Really?
Melissa Fawn.
They sound very close. It just sounds like a pitched up Raven.
She does a lot of anime.
Mm-hmm. Kind of surprised, because it does sound very close. Yeah, no, I feel Gaz is different. She doesn't seem the same. The character seems different. Softer, maybe, would be a way to say it. Like, she doesn't seem as, like...
Emo?
Less emo. She doesn't seem as much of an introvert, let me put it that way. And when you think about that, it makes some sense, right? Membrane is not a good parent. He's constantly working, doesn't pay as much attention to his kids as he probably should. Hell, the fact that he has a robot that makes them breakfast kind of lends to that, even though for this one time he was there for it. And that may have been just because the robot it's in a trial run or something. But for a parent like Membrane, who's not around that much, who's constantly into science and doing his own inventory stuff, Dib becomes a recluse, looking into things that his dad doesn't, trying to get his respect. And Gaz just becomes an extreme introvert to the point where it's like she hates humanity. Or, any kind of human emotion or touch.
Pay attention to your kids. Kids.
Nice. But that's kind of what happens. Like, they're not developing like normal children, and it kind of shows. But in this, Gaz seems like a more human, but less like herself. Now, someone could technically make the argument, we don't know how long it's been since the series, and maybe there's been something has transpired between, that time of the show and the time of the movie, which I would have to ask what the hell happened, because clearly it would be important to tell us why Gaz is different now.
Maybe something happened in the comics that opened her up a bit?
Maybe, but I mean, not everyone's going to have read the comics.
Right.
That's what it's going to come down to. Not everyone reads the comics. If something important like that would have happened, there should have been some kind of reference to it in the movie.
Good point.
Like, that's kind of the problem. But yeah, that's my major gripe about this one. Everyone else is running on all cylinders. It's great. Everyone else is perfect. I fucking love the chase scene between Zim and Dib when Dib's after the moose. It's great. Like, there are some really cool transitions going on there.
Spinning around the tiny planet.
Those poor people. They're all dead. The G-forces they must have felt when that happened.
I expected them, from what I know about Invader Zim, to rapidly age as the planet spins faster and faster.
Oh, you mean they're going to pull a Superman Returns?
Kind of.
It's just, in the wrong direction. We're not rewinding time, we're speeding it up.
Yes, I was half expecting, like, rapid aging.
Oh my god. I mean, I'm okay with, like, extreme, like, freaky sun and moon positioning shit going on with extreme wind now. Also, because they're stepping on it, they must be crushing everything.
Yeah.
There's earthquakes happening because there are giant people stomping their way on their planet.
And, like, gravity shifting around.
It's less gravity shifting around. Well, no, it would be. Because freaking everything has a gravitational pull, including people. Because of how massive that shoe is compared to the planet, that would have its own gravitational pull. Some of those people might still be orbiting around Zim's boot. Like, that's not even a joke. I'm pretty sure that, like, even us, like, I think, if I remember my science correctly, which I might be wrong, who knows, I think we have atoms that orbit around us, if I remember correctly, because those are so small and we're so massive.
Huh. Science.
Right?
Well, that is scientifically possible.
Yes. Membrane approved.
Well, theoretically, if they would add an alien evil slime and using some theoretical moose to power it.
This is the first time I've ever used a moose before.
Just membrane denying everything.
I mean, I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting him to have 2 mechanical arms. I then was not expecting him to pull out a Kamehameha wave.
Sharks used to be my friend, but I have misjudged them.
I did not think he lost both arms. Then he did. It was revealed he had. And 2, he can throw Kamehamehas with those arms. Okay.
Yes.
It's even blue. Like, I feel like that's a clear reference to DBZ. He's just using Kamehameha wave.
But science Kamehamehas.
Yes, science Kamehameha. He's learned how to control ki with machinery. He's learned from Jiro. Soon he'll borrow the infinite engine idea and install it in his liver.
Wait, infinite engine, did that make Cell?
No, that was in 17 and 18, so they never ran out of energy.
Oh, okay.
They just couldn't put out more than their threshold, but it was infinite.
We probably missed it, but there had to be at least one JoJo reference in this special. If there was a Dragon Ball reference, there has got to be a JoJo reference.
I don't remember any, like, Aura punch flurries. There was no time stop. There was no it was me. I'm trying to think of, like, all the JoJo shit I can think of that, like, it is pop culture related. There was nothing like a stand. There might not have been. I can't think of anything.
Oh, disappointment.
Like, there might be, but it might be something that I'm not thinking of or is obscure that I don't know about. If it's part 8, I definitely don't know about it. There was no talk of the spin or the ripple.
And who knows if...
No, you know what? I know what it was.
What?
It was the bee vampires.
Yes, the bee vampires.
They became vampires because they had tiny stone masks. No, hell, for all we know, there might have been a stone mask somewhere in Dib's pile of garbage. I'd have to leaf through and look at that scene again.
I more or less said that jokingly due to the fact that the beam may not have been a direct reference to Dragon Ball. It could have been.
I feel like it had to be. He did the positioning on the side and everything to launch it. He did everything except shout the freaking name.
Maybe. But all in all, I actually like this. You made me like it maybe a 0.5, 0.6 less now that I thought about, hey, yeah, this ending doesn't make much sense, but all in all, I would say like 9 out of 10.
I'm at an 8. It's partly because of the ending and a lot because Gaz feels weird.
But I would just love to see more Nickelodeon revivals.
Oh no, totally. Like this is quality, even with my gripes. This is total quality.
Yeah, and even shows that I'm not that familiar with, I'd be happy to see rebooted for fans that are younger than me, like Rocket Power and
Oh no, not that.
okay, not Rocket Power, that Ginger show?
Also not that, please. Anything but those shows. I will make one exception, all right? I will make one exception to that. I will take the Wild Thornberries back.
Yes!
But those other two, no. Though I swear that art style got uglier as time went on.
You hated it?
I didn't hate the content so much as I hated the art. The art looked horrible. Like Rugrats, I think, was made by the same people. Like it was the same animation studio and similar style, at least.
Oh, really?
I think Rugrats was their first. They moved on to Wild Thornberries. I think Rocket Power came after that, and then As Told by Ginger. And those last two were not pretty to look at.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised because wasn't there a Rugrats Thornberries crossover?
There was.
Hmm.
Yeah, no, those last two were kind of bad, especially Ginger, because like the mouths were just like on their chins half the time, or at least it felt like it. Like it did not look pretty. It was ugly.
So
Bring back the Keenan and Kel show.
Oh my god, yeah. Keenan and Kel needs to do something together.
Oh, I would love to see that come back. I'm curious now. Hold on. Let me see something. Oh, let me see here. Yes.
Even if it's like a movie or an SNL sketch where Kel shows up.
Uh-huh.
Because
I would love that. I mean, they just brought back like a Good Burger restaurant out in California.
What?
Yeah. So I watch Reckless Eating on YouTube. They did reviews for like, what was it? The Good Shake, the Good Burger, and all the other good stuff that they had. The Good Fries, the Good Chicken Chunks, aka Nuggets.
What?
Yeah, no, that was a thing. And I think it was for like a 2-week thing. Everybody was dressed like the show. It looked like the restaurant out of the freaking show.
Wow. Because from what I understand, Keenan and Kel are still good friends.
Mm-hmm.
So I would just, since Keenan...
Oh, Cat Dog.
Oh.
Cat Dog would be cool. Or Kablam. I would love Kablam to come back. With more bullshit. Oh, that'd be so good.
But with Keenan being so into Hollywood and Kel kind of into, I think he's half into rap music now, or
I don't know. I lost track of him.
Yeah, so that might be the only problem, getting Kel back into the Hollywood spotlight and going, remember Kel Mitchell?
Mm-hmm.
Kenan Thompson's friend.
sorry, I'm looking at like a thing of a list of shows. Why not bring back
Aerial Monsters?
No, but that's also a good one. Chalk Zone.
Chalk Zone?
You literally don't know Chalk Zone?
Was that the one where the kid could go onto the blackboard and have adventures?
He didn't go onto the blackboard. He went into like a world where everything that was erased existed. Like he used chalk to get through it. Like it opened the portal, but it wasn't technically on the chalkboard.
I do not remember that.
Oh, that show was so good. There were so many creative designs in there. Oh, it was so good looking.
I do not remember that.
And everything in Chalk Zone that was from the board had like a chalky texture to them, while the humans still had like the regular animated textures.
Okay, this looks vaguely familiar, but
Oh, I know what show we can bring back.
what?
Fanboy and Chum Chum.
I'm going to end the call.
Why?
If it does come back, I will force you to watch it so that you can suffer too.
It'd be worth it to see you suffering beside me. You never even watched an episode of the show. You just saw an intro and hated it immediately.
It is horrible. It looks horrible.
Sit down, watch like 2 episodes and tell me that. Then you will know the suffering.
I'd rather not. You know, I would rather watch Cash and Sins and in its entirety than watch a single episode of Fanboy and Chum Chum.
I mean, at least Cashern looks kinda pretty. I'll give it that.
And Cashern probably isn't loaded with fart jokes.
No, but Cashern hurts your brain when you try to even think about it somewhat, normally.
So, we determined Cash and Sins is better than something.
I don't know if I would say better, maybe more tolerable.
Okay, is it better or worse than Fanboy and Chum Chum?
Well, I can't say whether or not that's the case because I haven't sat down and watched all of Fanboy and Chum Chum, nor do I ever want to.
Okay.
I only watched Cashern Sins in full the first time because I was curious about where it goes. And it ended up very, very much disappointing me.
So, I guess before we go off on any more random tangents, this ends our Invader Zim.
Oh, sorry. I have one more thing.
Okay.
Bring back Danny Phantom, because clearly that never got a good end. So give us a movie to end that. B, I'd be more than down to have like a 3rd generation Avatar movie.
Ooh.
Because I don't care enough about Korra, because Korra disappointed me. Aang's story in Last Airbender had a solid ending to it. Or no, you know what? That's how you bring it back. Give us a movie to end off Last Airbender, because we never got book 4. That's how you do it. They had fucking comics that had to do it. And it was like, I think it was like a 3-issue comic that ended it. I think it was a 3-parter.
So build off of the comics?
Just take the comic and just, animate the comic. Like, if you need to add in more to pack in, time, do it. Because, I mean, it's only like an hour and a half movie, right? That's about what these have been, probably a little less.
I think Kurako was 40 minutes, but Zim and Hey Arnold from 2-ish years ago, year and a half, was both around the 80-minute mark.
So yeah, I think a 3-part comic would be able to fit within that. They might need to trim a couple things, here or there, or considering how big of a thing Avatar: The Last Airbender was, they could probably afford a little more time or be willing to give it time.
Hmm.
I could totally see a 2-hour Avatar ending movie.
Oh, and speaking about Avatar, I heard that the crappy live action version was going to be a trilogy.
I'm pretty sure I've told you that before. They were going to do all 3 of the books that existed at that point, and each and every one was just going to be exposition the movie.
Uh, I'm kind of glad I didn't see it to give me false hope for what Avatar actually is.
No, yeah, I can't believe that. I swear I told you that that thing totally has fucking uh is literally exposition the movie and probably would have been in all 3. You can't fit a 24 episode season into like a 2-hour movie.
No, you can't.
I could see fitting a 3-part like comic book into that, maybe, depending on what's all in it. I think I only read the first part of that myself. And then I think I wiki dived the rest. But yeah, no, there's no room. You can't do it. Period.
So,
Especially in the first season, because there's so much packed into that. There's so much intricacies in that series. Not possible.
so join us as we game, discuss anime, make up movies, and other random things here on the Reckless Amoeba Production YouTube channel.
Don't worry. Phone calls won't interrupt us.
Hopefully, hopefully, hopefully. Okay, I guess.
Professionalism reigns.
Yay.
I was really hoping the phone would ring to fucking ruin that.
Later.
Bye.